In the eyes of many, George Clooney seems as if he's the kind of leading man that can do no wrong. But in the early 2000s, George Clooney was directing the film Good Night and Good Luck and was also suffering from a serious head injury that made him consider taking his own life. Join Facts First as we explore the George Clooney role that almost killed him. George Clooney gave more to Syriana than necessary. In 2005, the American political thriller Syriana was released. Nowadays, the movie isn't talked about that much. Looking back, it seemed like a little bit of run-of-the-mill Oscar bait, though it didn't end up sweeping the Academy Awards ceremony come 2006. One of the few wins it did manage to secure at the 78th Academy Awards was the award for Best Supporting Actor, which was bestowed upon cast member George Clooney. George certainly deserved recognition for his role in the film, regardless of its reception, as the actor almost lost his life during production. Syriana took its inspiration from a memoir by a former CIA agent, which was called See No Evil. One scene in the film featured George Clooney tied to a chair and being beaten. It was during the filming of this scene that George suffered the accident that would nearly end his life. According to the actor, the chair he was tied to accidentally got knocked over during a take. Since he was tied to the chair, he had no way of preventing his head from slamming onto the hard floor. When this happened, it did some serious damage to the star's brain. The impact tore some of his brain's connective tissue, which made it so his brain was essentially floating around in his skull without a buffer. As one would imagine, this started causing some serious problems for the actor almost immediately. But it took a significant amount of time for doctors to figure out what the issue was. While most people in George's position could have simply popped a few painkillers and been on with their work, George's family has a history of substance abuse problems. Because of this, the actor has always made sure to stay away from substances that can be addictive, even when prescribed them. This is certainly an admirable goal, though it made the actor's recovery from his Syriana mishap a lot more difficult. Still, the actor persevered and tried to find other ways to manage his pain before the doctors eventually figured out what was wrong. George claims he went to special therapy classes where he was taught how to ignore his pain, and that helped him through the production of his 2005 directorial effort, Good Night and Good Luck. George's injury made it difficult to keep working. Good Night and Good Luck was filmed right after Syriana, and George Clooney was feeling the effects of his head injury severely over the course of the film's production. George also played the lead role in the film, and his brain was in such dire straits he allegedly had to write his lines down on a little piece of paper in front of him just to remember them. Despite the fact that George was facing some severe physical setbacks during production, the movie ended up being positively received. In fact, Good Night and Good Luck got quite a bit more positive attention around the time than Syriana did. Unlike Syriana, Good Night and Good Luck managed to secure a nomination for Best Picture at the 78th Academy Awards. George was also nominated that year for directing the feature and writing its script, though the film lost in all three of those categories. As George continued to suffer the pain of his head injury, he began to contemplate whether or not he'd be able to keep living. According to the actor, the pain got so bad he would sometimes contemplate taking his own life, so he would no longer have to deal with the feeling. Thankfully, the doctors ended up realizing the cause of the pain within a year. They were then able to make George's pain go away by performing a series of surgical operations. Finally, George was able to continue on with his career free from constant agitation. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. George has always taken responsibility for himself. Most actors who underwent what George Clooney did on the set of Syriana would have blamed the film's production, but George blamed only himself. In particular, he blamed the fact that he had chosen to put on roughly 40 pounds in order to play his role. It stands to reason that 40 more pounds on the actor would have meant 40 more pounds of impact to his head. So we can see his logic. The actor also felt his gained weight made it harder for him to recover. George went on to call the year that he was suffering from this brain injury the worst of his life. The terribleness of that year was also apparently exacerbated by the fact that he lost a few loved ones and a pet. At the time George was suffering from his brain injury, he was already considered one of the biggest stars in the world. However, the actor was no stranger to adversity. It had taken a lot of time and hard work for George to get where he was, having gotten his big break performing on the primetime medical soap opera ER. George was an original cast member on ER, which premiered in 1994. As soon as the show started gaining traction, the actor started making attempts to segue into a career on the big screen. One of his earliest film roles was in 1996's From Dusk Till Dawn, which saw the lovable scamp of an actor play an out-and-out murderous criminal tasked with fighting off a bar filled with freaky vampires. Quentin Tarantino, who also played a role in the feature as George's on-screen brother, wrote the film. While From Dusk Till Dawn is undeniably a classic amongst horror audiences, it didn't do much to make its lead actor into a lovable presence on the big screen. The following year, the actor took part in a film that had even more negative impact on his burgeoning career as a film star, 1997's Batman and Robin. How George got the role that almost ended his career. The story goes that 1989's Batman was a huge success, so Warner Brothers Pictures gave its director complete creative control over the film's follow-up. That director was Tim Burton, and the follow-up was 1992's Batman Returns. Though plenty of audience members enjoyed the film at the time and continue to enjoy it today, the fact of the matter stands that Batman Returns was too dark for children. Because of this, the studio mandated a more kid-friendly tone for the film's subsequent sequels. This meant axing director Tim Burton, as well as original lead Michael Keaton. Val Kilmer played Batman in 1995's Batman Forever, though he wasn't interested in returning for 1997's Batman and Robin. Joel Schumacher directed the third Batman feature, and the film was considered a significant disappointment compared to the two Tim Burton-directed movies that came prior. The film was considered cheesy, even by the standards of the time, with it seemingly taking more influence from the Adam West series than the previous big-screen blockbusters. Though Batman Forever was relatively maligned, it made money. Because of this, Joel Schumacher was brought back in to direct 1997's Batman and Robin. Since Val Kilmer didn't want to return, the director needed a new leading man. When it came time to cast their third big-screen Batman, Warner Brothers knew they were going to need an actor who was willing to take some risks. For one thing, there was a good chance that 1997's Batman and Robin wasn't going to be a hit with critics. For another, there was a good chance whoever ended up taking the lead role would be pigeonholed afterwards. Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer didn't have this problem, as they were already big stars when they were tasked with playing the part. But the studio wanted a relative unknown for the fourth film. George Clooney became a major film star anyway. George Clooney ended up being given the role of Batman. The actor reluctantly took it, but started to regret it almost immediately. Today, Batman and Robin is considered one of the worst films of all time, with the follow-up having doubled down on the cheesy nature of its immediate predecessor. However, George somehow managed to become a film star anyway, thanks to critical and commercial successes like Out of Sight and Three Kings. The actor-turned-director is still at it today, though he recently took a 4-year break from working to focus on his family life. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know that George Clooney suffered a serious brain injury on the set of Syriana, and this almost inspired him to take his own life? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.